Good afternoon, ladies and gents. This is your professor speaking, and today we're going to be going over a bit of a homebrew meme-ish kind of deck. I'm pretty excited about it. At the end of the video, I'm going to be giving away a code card for the Mock Strike deck, because I had to go purchase one to finish this. It wasn't, anything crazy, but let's look at this bad boy. All right, we're running Palossand, and how many? Not one, not two, but three of this bad boy. Now, what we're really going to be focusing in on this deck is Sandy Fear GX. It's you make your opponent reveal the top 13 cards of their library, and any Pokemon you find there, you discard, and you do 60 times that amount in damage. And now that's not terrible. It's pricey, 2 energy and a DCE, so it's at least 3-4 turns for the evolution. 210 health. He's not really that great. You can confuse and do 60 for that, and then heal 20 and 100 for 4 also. He's not great alone, and you'll see why. But holy smokes, it can get pretty nasty. Being it as a meme and all. Next, I gotta find the next one on my list. One of these little bad boys. Don't run him. He's a placeholder for a Lele. I have her coming in the mail. She will be going down in price soon, though, thanks to the Island Guardians box set that's going to be coming out. You'll get, like, I don't know, a Lele and I think Finny and a few packs, and I don't know. She's going to be going down in price, so be excited. Next, for obvious reasons, we are running for Sandy Gast. Oh, look at him. He's so spooky with that shovel in his head. I wonder if that hurts him at all. Probably not. Maybe he gets off on it. Oh my god, what am I doing? Maybe sandcastles like shovels. Who knows? Oh god. That's a raunchy joke. Next, Minior. Now, Palossand has a giant retreat cost. Getting him back if you absolutely need to is awful. So I'm running 2 of these. The ability is, if your bench isn't full, you can play this as your active Pokemon. That's the trimmed down version of it. He can come out swift, 30 damage, not affected by resistance or weakness. So it's not bad. And we can beef him up in a little bit with our next card. We're going to be running a Diancie, just for a little bit of extra damage. Maybe make Palossand a little more viable. And then we've got one Sudowoodo. You can bring him out or play him when your opponent has a full bench. You can limit them to 4. This can mess up Malamar a little bit. It can mess up, I don't know, if your opponent's playing like a bunch of Altarias. Yeah, he's just handy for getting that little bit of extra Pokemon into their discard, because we are going to be using, for this guy, for this purple bird, Oricorio, we're going to be focusing on Supernatural Dance. However, Revelation Dance can be used in this deck. We will be running stadiums, but basically what it does, as you can see on the screen, I don't know if I can center it here, for each Pokemon in your opponent's discard pile, put 1 damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. So you can spread that damage however you want. So pairing that with Palossand's GX move, if you get a lot of their Pokemon into the discard pile, then you're going to be doing a lot more damage with Oricorio. So these two together are like a little happy couple. I don't know. Next, just for consistency and like drawing, because this deck can brick really hard, is an Oranguru. Granted, you won't be bricking necessarily with this. You'll just be getting cards when you don't have a hand. Handy in pretty much everything. Okay, now into the trainers. We've got 1 Lily, for obvious reasons. Just draw. We've got an Acerola, because Palossand can take a fair amount of damage, but once you've used his GX, he's kind of pointless. He isn't really supposed to be the main attacker, but you're going to be using him a lot anyway, just to try and help get more Pokemon into the discard pile before you start tearing things up with Oricorio. Alright, next we're running 2 Judge. Now, why 2? Because it gives you multiple opportunities to add. Like, say your opponent has a big hand. There is more of a likelihood that they will have a good amount of Pokemon in their hands if they're not running, or if their board isn't entirely set up. So, with him, you're going to want to play a Judge, and then use his GX, just to try and make sure that there are more cards in his deck. Now, I know that can also possibly make it worse, but it could also help you out a lot as well. I mean, it really depends. By the time you get Palossand set up, I would say that your hand is probably not going to be that large. I've played this deck a number of times now, and I actually won with it, 2nd place at my locals last week, so I'd say that this works. It can limit your chances, but it can also boost your chances. It's 50-50, but it can also disrupt your opponent, especially if you've already discarded a number of their Pokemon. You can just limit their hand size even more. So overall, fairly helpful. We got 2 Tate and Liza. I like running her in most things. Emergency Switch, kind of, and, Shuffle, Draw 5. A better Shauna, but currently standard, so that's always good to run. At least, 2. Not for everything. We will be discussing some decks later on down the line that I have built that don't need pretty much anything in terms of supporters. Next, 3 Guzma. Get that big bad boy out of there, or put something out that can attack, like their Lele, if they haven't put a DCE on it or anything, and just start lighting up their bench with Oricorio. Kind of more of a mid-game-ish kind of thing. And like I said, this deck can brick. So, 3 Cynthia. Shuffle, Draw 6. We all know what she does. She's very good. She's also gone down in price. So, this is a somewhat budgety deck. Now, next we're going to be running 2 Nest Ball. You'll see why. Nest Ball is very handy, especially in this, because we are going to be running Brooklet Hill. So really, Brooklet Hill is only going to fetch you all of the fighting types, but it's not going to get you an Oricorio, it's not going to get you a Rangaroo, and when I have her, it's not going to get you Lele, but you don't want to get Lele with a Nest Ball anyway. You want her to be in your hand, so you can play her for her ability. So we're only running 2. I had Timer Balls, but they just don't work as well. That's what we'll be using 3 Ultra Balls for. Discard 2, search for anything. Search for a Palossand, mostly. Occasionally you'll want to search for an Oranguru or something. It depends on what's on the board. But mainly for Palossand. Or Lele, if you haven't drawn her. Next, 1 Field Blower. This will get rid of things like, let's see, Shrine of Punishment, Choice Band. It's, things that are potentially going to really harm this deck because you're focused around Palossand in the beginning, but later on, you're really only worrying about Oricorio being out. It's handy in situations. I would change this, maybe, but I've found it very useful. Yeah, I'm sorry for all my speculative deck builds here, but mind you, this one's kind of a meme. So we got 2 Enchanted Hammers. Or no, why do I keep calling them Enchanted Hammers? I was doing this all last week. Enhanced Hammers, just good for slowing down your opponent. I know there are a lot of Psychic decks out there, Malamar and stuff that aren't running DCEs at all. But, since I play an unlimited tournament every week, even though I'm building standard decks, I see a lot of people running Double Dragon Energy and just a bunch of crazy stuff, DCEs, There's plasma energy once. These are very handy if you want to disrupt. So it's not bad, especially if you're running up against Garchomp, which, good luck, first of all. But that can slow them down at least a tad bit. And we got 2 switch. Yeah, switch. Why 2? We've already got multiple other ways to switch. So next, since I said bricking is a common problem with this deck, Acrobike, just for a little more, digging. I know Sandygast, it has a Shore Up, which can get a energy from your discard pile onto it. So, like, say turn 1, you have Sandygast out, and you only have energy on him, and you Acrobike. Like, say you put a DC on him, and you drew into an Acrobike, or something like that. You can use this, and maybe you'll get lucky to discard that energy. But I don't know, by that point, I don't know, you're probably already losing. I know this is a long-winded deck, or thing. 2-choice band. More damage, If we're going to be using a crappy GX like Palossand, we might as well try to make him good. 2 seems logical here because we need to fit everything else. And I'd say that it works. Eerie Light doing 90 damage and confusing isn't all that bad. It's going to force your opponent to retreat a lot or switch because nobody wants to deal 30 damage to themselves. So it's really handy. And, if they do switch out, you have other options to switch to Oricorio and just start damaging that Pokemon even though they've already switched out. So it's fairly handy. A lot of GX heavy decks aren't really appearing as much. A lot of Shrine decks are kind of the popular thing now. So I'd see that falling out of relevance kind of soon, in this deck anyway. Next, we've got 3 Brooklet Hill. Really, like I said earlier, you're going to be using this to search for, like, Sandygast. You don't want to search for Minior. Search for Diancie and Sudowoodo when they have a full bench. Brooklet Hilling for a Sudowoodo is pretty good move, but it's not going to hit very often. Not a lot of people are loading up their benches, but in certain cases, it will be super handy. This just helps accelerate that process of getting Sandygast out, and then into Palossand, and then into the GX move. It's really all focused around that little combo between Oricorio and the Sandcastle guy. Next, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 energies, 3 of which are DCEs. I should probably run 4, but I'm out. So, and I still found it working pretty well, but it would work way better with 4. There aren't that many things in here, though, that do need DCEs. And there are only Palossand and Oranguru. And that's it for the deck. If you decide to build this and give it a try, let me know in the comments and all that fun stuff. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning, but I am giving away a code card for the Mock Strike deck because I had to go purchase one just to get a couple more Cynthias. So here it is. Enjoy. And tell me what you want to see next time. I'll build it, I'll talk about it, and enjoy your lives. Have a good day. Bye-bye.